Yo, what's good, people? It's your boy, the Kryptonian Saiyan, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 167. This chapter, once again, it's another setup chapter, but Oda is getting out of first gear and he's going into second gear, so it's starting to speed up a little bit. You know, like just how when you drive a manual transmission car, your power gears or your lower gears. So the reason why I'm using that example is even though we really just see the different parts kind of making their plans to attack each other, whether it be Koza planning on attacking the king planning on attacking Crocodile. We know Crocodile's planning on coming after Luffy's crew, while at the same time he has his upper agents all carrying out their own side missions. And then you have Luffy's crew, they're planning on going to face Crocodile. So all the different parts are moving in together. So this was really good. And I like how what Oda did was very subtly raise the tension, because we see just how worried the king is, Vivi's father, because they haven't heard from Ingram. They don't know what's going on. But at the same time, they have Crocodile, who is a huge hero to the people, and at the time in the chapter when they're discussing this, they don't know that Crocodile is the shadow who is pulling the strings from behind the scenes. And it really reminds me of, again, Rurouni Kenshin, and I've gone over this a bajillion times. It's because Oda has worked on that manga, so it makes sense for him to kind of borrow early on while he's setting up his own world building. But it's just like how Shishio, one of the things he was doing was posturing himself from behind the scenes in order to bring out his own rebellion. So I like that. And just how you had the Oniwaban group and you had Kenshin, all the different moving parts, Karu and her dojo, like, well, not so much her dojo, but Karu and Yahiko, all of them, they were all targeting different. They all had different targets, but at the same time, Shishio was the one right in the middle. And I can't help but feeling once Koza realizes what's going on, his ire is going to move from the king to Crocodile. So, I mean, this is cool, man. Like, this shit's enough to make me want to go back and really just break out my Kenshin volumes, or just go back and watch the anime. The anime's a little older, but I don't mind it. I mean, there's a few wonky things in it, but with that being said, let's just move back further into this, right? So what I did like about that whole thing with building up the tension is what we got to see is once they figure out that it is Crocodile, because Karu shows up and they read Vivi's note, right? And what was very interesting about that is once they realize it's Crocodile, it gets pointed out like, hey, he's got more influence with the people than you. And I like how the king stays to it, because we've seen earlier in the chapter where he's saying like, well, we can't just attack because we'll lose favor with the people. But at the same time, the people hold Crocodile higher up than you. And it just shows that this is a king who is very conflicted. And again, this wasn't an action-heavy chapter, but if you've watched my Hunter x Hunter reviews, you know that I don't particularly care for just non-stop action. It's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. Part of my name is Kryptonian Saiyan. I love Dragon Ball, a lot of fighting, so I don't mind it. But at the same time, I like stuff like this. And just going all the way back into this chapter, I like how what they did was show Vivi and Luffy and just the little interactions. And I like how this was like a slice of life feel. It wasn't so much humor, but more so slice of life, because you see Usopp and Luffy, they kind of got their thing going on with the water. Luffy is putting his foot down as captain, saying we can't just drink all this all at once, which was very, very interesting, because I wouldn't expect Luffy to have the self-restraint. And I like how, I believe it's Nami who says it, so I like how that does get thrown in there. But I also like how, again, with Nami, one of the things we see is she says, oh shit, there's going to be a casino there, gambling. And Zoro's like, oh god, we got to watch out for her. Like, it's just a slice of life feel. It was just beautiful, just to see all the different interactions, to see Sanji just smoking his cigarette and smiling as Zoro's kind of, jabbing at Chopper like, hey, you going to be able to walk today? Chopper's like, yeah, I'll be able to stick it out. That made the chapter for me. Normally, I'm a sucker for the whole war thing and the whole building up process, but slice of life, you just can't beat that, man. It really makes you feel like you're growing with these characters. You find yourself getting attached to them. So overall, very good chapter, very good. My chapter question for you guys is gonna be this: what did you appreciate more? Did you appreciate the slice of life feel that took place earlier on in the chapter of Luffy and his crew, or did you like the setup that Oda was going through, showing all, there's this cool shot where you have all the different targets and they're showing, or all the different parties and they're showing their targets. Did you appreciate that aspect more? But overall, great chapter, guys. Once again, if you like anything I had to say, make sure you hit that like button, comment, rate, subscribe, share. I'll greatly appreciate it. As always, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.